this one nurse, and it.
Look at Rich.
We walking through the hospital, and she's like, "Are you completely blind?" And I said, "Yeah." And so she was like, "Well, who is this with you?" I said, "Oh, this is my husband." And she said, "How you get married and you blind?" And I look this way, and I don't have anybody.
And all I remember is when we walked back to the room, and she said it again, and I looked at her. I'm like, "You must be crazy then."
I'm Tiffani, and welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. I'm your host, Tiffani Whitfield. Hey, listen, stop right now. Stop shacking up with us and hit that subscription button and subscribe. See, a lot of people, they actually think that they already have subscribed because they have become such frequent listeners of the podcast, but you'll be amazed if you go look at your subscription button. Do that right now. See if you actually have subscribed. We're trying to hit 50K this month, so I need everybody's help. You know, you meet people in your life sometimes that have a lasting impression beyond that initial encounter. And I was working on this project last week, this very heartfelt, powerful project. We'll get into that as we get into this episode, but I met this couple. And when I tell you, I wanted to just lay on the floor and cry because their love story is so amazing. But not only that, but they don't look like what they've been through. They're a couple that have weathered some of the most amazing storms, and they keep a smile on their face. They joke with each other. It's a beautiful sight to see. And I'm telling you, if there's any episode you want to watch, it's this episode right here. So grab your Kleenex and get ready to cry. Yeah, because I feel it in my spirit. Listen, without further ado, welcome to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. My new homies, Rich and Tiffani Martin. How y'all doing?
We good, man.
Why y'all so silly? Tell me, why are y'all just so crazy?
Keeps the days going.
Yeah, and I'm naturally a fool, so.
Accurate.
So listen, I was trying to think of a befitting name for this podcast, and I'm going to call this episode, Is Love Blind? Is Love Blind? Because you guys got married after you've lost your sight, correct?
Right.
And the love that Rich has for you is just incomparable. And the love that you have for him is just so dope. But it didn't start off that way. It didn't start off that way where it was butterflies and fireworks. You was a hard cookie to crack, right, Tiffani?
Mm-hmm.
So, Tiffani, tell me how y'all met.
We met through a mutual acquaintance in 2012. 2012. And, she hit me up and was like, this guy, you might want to, meet him. And he checks all the boxes. Every girl got a list. Mm-hmm. So on paper, he hit all my lists, but it was just bad timing. I'm fresh out of college and got a good job. I'm traveling. I was not trying to settle down.
You weren't trying to settle down.
And when I saw him, I was like, oh, okay. But I was not trying to settle down for anybody, so.
You was out there playing the field, Tiffani?
Field, making the field, playing the field.
Quarterback,
all the things, and just, you wasn't going to get me settling for nothing, so.
Rich, what was going on with her?
What she said. I ain't gonna lie, I was smitten. I was like, yo, this girl got some fire. She looked good. And it seemed like she was like beyond her years.
Yeah.
And I was like drawn to her. So I was like, man, I want to know who she is. And she just was not having it.
Like, no matter what.
She would talk for like
too much.
I was doing too much.
So answer that, because you said that in the project that we're working on, and we'll tell the people about it later. But why would you say he was doing too much?
He's the good guy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whatever, but he called, how you doing? I'm like, don't run game on me. And he's not. He's just a good guy. And so I was just like, whatever. I just really, it's so weird. He's attractive to me, but I wasn't attracted to him.
Yeah.
And so I was
don't get that at all.
He said, you're attractive, but I'm just not attracted. You know why? It's because you were such a good guy. Were you like, did you always date bad boys or something?
That wasn't even the case. No. It was just like.
Why you say he's doing too much? You say he would call.
Because he's weird.
I'll give you that.
You say he was doing too much because he would call us?
I was just always on the go. And he was doing all the right things. It was just like,
You just wasn't ready for the right things.
yeah. And it was scary.
Oh, see, that's where I want to get to.
Yeah.
It was scary because he was too good to be true.
There you go.
There it is. There it is.
After all this time.
Well, I mean, we're married now. You can't go nowhere. That's what it was.
You were scared.
He did all the right things, and you just kind of like, I don't trust it.
Didn't trust it.
I understand that, though. I do understand that. Like,
So what did you think it was? Did you feel like she had another guy? Did you feel like she had commitment issues? Or what did you take that as a man? Because oftentimes we don't hear about men being in pursuit of a woman and a woman saying, hey, I ain't ready to settle down. It's normally the other way around. So how did you take that?
oh no, it was like, oh no, you a whole jerk. A whole jerk. Because I'm like, I didn't think I did anything wrong. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm calling to show you I'm interested. I'm trying to get to know who you are.
Yeah.
You just throwing a Nolan Ryan curve at me. And I'm like, all right, I'm good. Like, I don't know what else to do. Then when she,
I was honest with you.
you were honest. I didn't believe you.
Everything.
No, okay. About everything, yes. We have been honest about everything. But when you said you was going to come back, I did not believe it.
I friend-zoned him,
Ghost.
but I was honest about everything.
Ghost.
I told him what was going on.
So what you say? What you say when you friends on them?
I told him if he gave me time, I would come back to him. It was a lot of stuff that I needed to like get squared away.
So you use one of the little men roles. That's what men say. Men be like, say, give me time, I'm not ready.
It was game. I thought it was game. I'm like, I ain't playing with you.
I was honest.
You were honest. Like, all right, I took that, but like expecting to see her after she said it, nah. Like,
in your mind, you automatically just cancel that. You was like, nah.
I was on the move after that. It was like, oh.
You say, are you gonna handle me like this?
That's what you gonna do.
Yeah, all right. We're gonna see if I'm around when you come back around.
All right, this what we doing? All right, cool.
So y'all first date, we talked about this. Tell us about your first date.
Lord.
First date, it was Valentine's Day. So it was like, all right, cheat code. I got cool with her sister.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked her sister, like, yo, what are some of the
Did not know this.
Oh, you didn't?
You wasn't supposed
Had
to.
no clue they knew anything. I didn't tell my family nothing about
It was very covert. So I'm real smooth about it.
Now put this in perspective. You lived in Connecticut at the time?
I lived in Connecticut.
And she was living in Dallas.
Yep.
All right.
And so I asked her, like, what are some of the things she liked to do? She gave me the rundown. I'm like, okay, Connecticut is kind of small, so can't really do most of that stuff there. New York is right there.
Mm-hmm.
So I just went, found all the museums, found a nice place to stay that wasn't like in New York, but like right outside New York where it was like comfortable, so you had to come out and deal with noise. And just told her, hey, you want to come down and chill? She was like, yeah.
I bought my ticket and I forgot about it. I bought my ticket. I think he asked in like December or something. I bought my ticket and completely forgot about it.
You forgot all about the whole trip.
And that week I had flown to Denver. My sister was doing an internship. I wasn't wilding. She was doing an internship. I didn't want her to be out there alone. Plus I was trying to finish up a book and everything. So I'm like, I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna work. And it literally 5 hours before my flight, my phone does a notice and
says flight.
And I'm like, oh my God. I completely forgot about this date. So I'm scrambling and couldn't change our clothes. And just from Denver to Dallas to New York in a matter of 6-7 hours. And I show up and I get there and he has this cheesy cardboard cutout with my name on it. Robinson.
I was trying to be creative and remember it.
Yeah.
And she still remembers it. So
so it worked.
It worked.
It worked.
I'm like, this dude is the worst. It's so gross. He's laying it on thick and opens the door. Got you. Here's your limo, Mrs. And so I get in.
That's funny.
He said, here's your limo, Miss Robinson.
All of the things.
Now here's a funny
Good
part.
job. Good job.
If I'd have did none of that, right?
Mm-hmm. She'd be saying, he ain't do nothing. He wasn't
Oh, you
intentional.
doing too much. And now if I don't do it, like, you a whole
On the other side, greatest day ever.
Yes. And that's what I loved about it when you said
what
that.
is this dude doing? Like, he's gonna kidnap me. This is what you see in horror films and stuff like. What? Too good to be true.
First of all, and this is no colorism here. I am too light skinned to kidnap you.
Oh my gosh.
Because I am too light skinned to go to jail.
Rich, I couldn't tell.
Huh?
I can't tell if you light skinned.
Oh no,
You can't tell
Texas
now?
has changed me.
Besides the point,
So let's put this in perspective. So during that time, what year was this?
2015.
It was 2015. Tiffani had her sight.
Yes, I had.
She had her sight at that time. So, but when you saw him, you say he's attractive, but I'm not attracted to him. But y'all had this brewing friendship going, and
The friendship was locked down. Like we was,
Yeah, it was
cool
solid.
on the friendship aspect.
So y'all was dope on that, and he wanted to just say, "Hey, let's see if I can go from friends to lovers." And you like, all right, let me kind of open my mind up to it. But then here it is. You got this most amazing date that you've ever had. Was that just a weekend or was it just?
It was just a weekend.
It was the weekend. So it was a whole weekend. You spent time with him. You about to get ready to go back to Dallas. What happened?
So a whole weekend, just great. So we did all the places, did all the things. Get to my flight. We kissed, and I was just like, feelings. I don't like it. But I'm like, I'm cool with it.
you a little thug.
I'm keeping it cool.
Yeah.
So I get them, and I'm like, I go right into work mode. Like, okay, I'm at the airport. They call or over the speakers in blizzard. No flights going out, and I'm like, so I'm trying to call, work my magic. Can I get a flight at JFK? Something. Eventually, ended up calling him. Dude drives back through a blizzard. Hour, 2 hour, I don't know. Comes back, picks me up. Couldn't find a hotel. Everybody, because you can't stay at LaGuardia.
Yeah, you can't just lay up in the airport.
They kick you out. He's spending all of his time driving all over Queens, anywhere he can go. Everywhere is booked, and finally found a place. We get there, and I'm just mad. I ain't even focused on him. So I'm like doing my own thing, and he just, you okay? Need it? And I'm just like, I ain't even worried about him. I'm like, I'm going to bed. I ain't say thank you. I just went to bed. Next morning.
So you remember not saying thank you?
Oh, absolutely.
Why?
My head was on, I got to get home. I got meetings. I got to do this. This was not studying rich.
So you wasn't appreciative of him coming back?
Nope. Not at the time. Oh, I was terrible. Why we married it was a miracle within itself.
Cold blood, it's an act of God.
Now, I will say this, in Rich intensity for me to go after me has never ceased. Blind, sick, health, good health, it has remained the same and even more throughout the entire time.
That's beautiful.
Nothing changed it.
And that's what touched me so much, to see a man operate with clear intentions. But hold on, we got to go back here. So you left, and then no thank you, no whatever. Then what happened?
I get home, and during that entire time, I had noticed my body changing. Face swollen, can't sleep, coughing, losing my breath, all of these things. But I said nothing to no one, not even my family at the time. As soon as I get home, I go straight to the doctors, and I was just trying to figure out what's going on. So they let me know, hey, you're in the early stages of renal failure. And I'm like, okay. I'm not one to start crying or anything. It's like, what needs to be done? Never called him. Never let him know that I made it home. Nothing. 2 or 3 days later, babe, what was it?
About, I won't even say 2 or 3 days, a day later.
It might have been a day later. He calls. Did you make it? Like, he is.
Oh, you didn't even tell him you made it home. You didn't tell him you made it to Dallas.
I landed straight to the doctors. Forgot, completely just put him aside.
And I'm trying to see, just make sure she's good.
Yeah.
You had to tell me nothing else. Just let me know you landed
Yes.
because we just had a whole blizzard. I don't know what the plane, them just make sure you good. And she tried to go off on me.
What?
You
doing too much. I'm like, I opened the door. As I should. I try to set up a nice date. As I should. Try to make you have a good time.
Mm-hmm.
Did that. Now I'm making sure you home.
But you're doing too much.
And I'm doing too much.
If I listed out all the things he did, women would be like, you are dumb. Like, when I took me to all of my favorite museums, all of the specific exhibits I wanted to go to, took me shopping, bought me boots, food, all the places I
And
want
you
to go.
kiss me on the mouth, and I'm doing too much.
You all kissing him. Look at you. Being
All the
fast.
things.
And then you said
Being
doing
fast.
too much. Being fast.
All the things.
But Tiffani, think about this. That how intentional God was because you got a chance to see your favorite museums for the first and last time. It's the think about how dope that is. That is amazing. But we ain't gonna put the cart before the horse. Go ahead. So you're doing too much. You calling to make sure that she made it home. She went to the doctor, and what did you find out? You said that you had
Early stages of renal failure.
Early stages of renal failure.
Didn't tell them. I didn't tell my family this
Didn't
at
tell
all
me.
at that time either. But it was like, I got a lot going on. I can't deal with you.
And since I didn't know that, I just went off on her because I'm like, you're going to say I'm doing too much. When I'm checking on your well-being, I'm like, if something would have happened to you, your mother and your father.
I'm calling you.
Yeah, they looking for me. And I'm like, oh no, she was on that plane. I checked to make sure she was all right. What happened in between there, I don't know. Just covering all my bases here. And you talking about I'm doing too much. Oh no, you got me messed up. You got me all the way messed up. So I think at that point, we stopped talking. Wasn't aware that she was sick or anything like that. We just stopped talking. And
For how long?
It was I don't recall the time, but it was a lengthy amount of time that we did not talk.
Months or this years?
No, it was months.
Like about it, what? Was it at least a year?
When I got sick, I woke up September 15th, 2015. Just got back from LA. Had all the intentions of had job offers in LA. I was gonna commute back and forth from between Dallas and everything. I was setting up, let my parents know, like, I'm about to do this.
And what industry were you in?
Marketing.
Okay.
To this day, same industry and everything. But really just kind of, trying to make my own mark without, the help of my family and all of that stuff, just doing my thing. And I woke up one morning, I was staying up with my parents for some reason. I woke up one morning and the entire left side red, couldn't see. And I screamed from my dad, like, Dad, and he comes up, what's wrong? I'm like, I can't see. What do you mean I can't see on my left side? I don't know what's going on. So he takes me emergency, to the doctors, and they're like, okay, this is early stages of the wear and tear of juvenile diabetes. And so I'm like, okay. So in my head at this point, I'm like, okay, renal failure, my eyesight, it's just a lot's coming on. This is September. By March, I had lost over 50 pounds. I am down to $110. Mind you, been thick all my life. Love my curls. I'm a Southern girl, so that's my pride and glory right there.
Yeah.
Gone. Sticks. It's just skin and sticks. And it just losing my sight, in pain, because with the particular, what was happening to me, I could feel my retinas detaching.
You could feel it.
I could feel it. So at nighttime, it was no sleep. So I'm going on borderline psychosis because I'm not asleep. You can have, if you ask my family to this day, every day I had a heating pad on my face. I'm in tears, literally just feeling my retinas just detach. So
was it the type of excruciating pain that you're yelling, or is it just, you can just bear it, but it's
debilitating. If I'm sitting up, I'm laying down on a table with my head rested. Like I can't lift up my head, or I'm shaking because of the pain. And I'm one that, I have a high threshold.
Did they give you medication for it?
I'm sedated on everything you can think of.
And you still feel it?
Still felt it.
Yeah,
so
her pain threshold is unreal. Unreal. I've never met anybody that could take that much.
So it had to be very painful if she's on medication and she's still saying this is unbearable.
I mean, when I say heavy, I'm on that heavy stuff. Morphine made me tickle. It tickled me. It didn't do anything.
For real, when they would say, oh, we're giving her morphine, and I'm like, oh, you might need to get something a little stronger than that because she laughs at morphine.
Wow.
The doses they were giving me, they were like, you should be asleep. And when I say I'm having coherent conversations, I'm working.
You said working?
No, that's the one thing you got to learn. If you ask any of my friends, my family, if I'm in the hospital, once they get me to a point, I set it up as an office.
Literally.
But that's good, though. It's a good coping thing anyway to keep your mind focused, or you just a workaholic, either
well,
one.
That was an issue when we first got married that we had to work through.
You was a workaholic?
It wasn't even a workaholic. It was when I first got sick, and I'm jumping ahead.
Oh, we're going to get back to that because I want to get there.
Okay.
I want to get there. So you're in the hospital. You're at home or you're in the hospital going through this, feeling your retinas detaching.
When all of this happened, it was boom, 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 boom. So we got to get you on dialysis because the water weight that I gained, it was drowning me internally. So it was, okay, boom, we got you on dialysis. Then it was 4 or 5 eye surgeries back to back to back to back.
Dang.
Boom, your eyesight is gone. Then it's the medicines they were putting me on, killing my muscles. Then it's boom, can't walk. So I done lost my independence, my sight, and I can't walk. And Lord, that hit me hard, man.
All from 2015 to what?
Like
it happened in a matter of like 3 months. Like
really?
It really was like boom, 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 boom. But like September 2015 till about April 2016, and it was just gone.
Yeah, I think by 2016 is when I started to become aware, like,
of what was going on.
Yeah, because I think from the time we stopped talking after New York, we hadn't spoken, and so I went off and did my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not even knowing that
she's going through
this is popping off. So like one day out of the blue, I just checked on her. I'm like, hey, because by that time I chalked it up. It's like we ain't gonna never be a couple. We just gonna be friends. So I'm like, all right, we just cool. I'm checking on my friend, and I sent her a text, I believe, and I tried to send her something like one of the little animated GIFs or whatever. She said I can't see it, and I'm like, well, did I not send it right or something? And she's like, that's when she told me. And I'm like, oh. So put those times that we weren't talking in perspective, like, oh, this is why you ain't talking to me. You got all this other stuff going on. And I'm like, dog, I would have been there. Like, regardless of whatever my thought process was, like, that's not important. Like, your health is important. And I come from a household where health is an issue. So the kidney thing, I'm familiar with it because my brother had to deal with it.
Right.
My aunt had to deal with it. So it's like, it's not foreign. So to me, I'm just chalking it up. Well, this is another one that you add to the list and you go put your energy toward that. And so.
Talk about that phone call. She was calling different friends, asking to see them.
No. So this particular time, This is right before I lost all of my vision. I was down to, I think they said 30%. And mind you, the depression is unreal at this point. I can't cope. I can't deal. And I'm taking all kinds of meds between what I needed and what I wanted. So I'm like, I couldn't take it. And so I'll never forget it. And I love this woman. And if I could ever find her, I got to tell her thank you. It was this black optometrist. And she did my work and everything. She came in and she said, she grabbed my hand and she pulled my parents over and she said, listen, you are going to lose your sight, but you are strong and you are a strong black woman. Get your affairs in order and figure out how to beat this. And my parents were like, yes, this is what we're gonna do. In my head, I couldn't digest it. It was just like, everybody knew Tiffani is always on the road. Tiffani's traveling. Tiffani working. Tiffani is doing her, and for her to say it, it was like all my dreams. Everything I had in plan it's gone. But all the other doctors, you're gonna be blind. We can't do anything.
That bad bedside manner.
Terrible.
They just deliver the news nonchalantly and just
keep going.
Walk away like you just dropped a bomb on somebody and you're gonna leave them to that. And just walk away as if this is nothing, go about your life. And it was like, well, you just told me I'm gonna lose my sight.
She was the only one that treated me like a person.
Yeah.
And not a prognosis. And so we got home. My parents, was like, we're going to go out and run some errands. And I had this just ridiculous idea in my head. I had literally just bought me a Toray Red, souped up Challenger. I loved my Challenger. I love speed. I love American muscle. This was the car I worked on. Like, I worked hard. I was doing all kinds of jobs, and this is my own car. Didn't need a cosigner. This is mine.
So I got my
This
car.
is my car. And I remember just thinking, I am never gonna be able to drive again, and it just crushed me. So when they left, mind you, down to 30% vision, found my keys, and I'm a joyride. I don't care what happens. And when I tell you, I got on this strip, and I hit that car to about 120, and I hit it hard, and I'm just gone, and I thought, and there was construction on this bridge, and I thought for a quick second, I said, if I turn this, I can end it. I ain't got to go through this.
Yeah.
And right at the last minute, I just turned it back and went through, and I drove for about 2-3 hours. Parents calling. I finally pull up, and they run out. My mom is in tears. My dad is hysterical. Where you been? And I just told him, just leave me alone. I'm never gonna be able to drive again. Leave me alone. And I got it was disrespectful. I don't disrespect my parents, but it was disrespectful. And I think they kind of I think for them it was my daughter's safe.
Yeah.
But they got what happened. And so they went in, and I called Rich, and I FaceTimed him. And I said, this is look at me.
And I think this is where I was like, this is unusual. Because prior to all of that, our conversations were pretty much text messages. I think we might have FaceTimed once or twice. And I'm like, oh no, she don't call. she don't do that. So when I got the FaceTime, I'm like, okay, this is different. And so she's sitting in the car, and I remember she's sitting in the car, she had sunglasses and a hat on. And that's when she told me about the vision thing, and I was like, all right, okay, wow, right? And so, she's explaining to me how it happened and the whole process and all that stuff, and I'm just like, all right, so what we gonna do?
You said we.
Yeah, I'm used to that. So it's like, okay, those situations for me, there's not enough time to process, feelings.
Yeah.
It's, okay, stuff got to get done. We can cry later. So what's the deal? How do we work through this? And she didn't ask for anything at that moment, but I could tell she was like way beyond frustrated. And so I was like, well, just scream and cuss in the car. And she was like, what is that gonna do? I said, absolutely nothing, but for the moment, for the moment, like, get that out. Don't just build on top of that. If you gotta scream, scream. And if you wanna scream in front of me, do that.
Yeah.
I screamed.
Went off.
So loud. And I lost it. Like, it was unreal, because I just screamed, and then I wept. And there's a difference between like crying and weeping. I wept. Like I wept. I didn't have anything. And it was just, I wept. And it was such a moment of vulnerability that, like, it's beautiful now that I could experience it with somebody in a safe space. But at the time, I felt exposed. I didn't have a covering. I didn't feel safe, and at that time I didn't even feel safe with God, because I'm like, I'm praying to you,
yes,
and you letting this happen. And I was like, I don't trust you.
Yep.
And and this is what I wish people, leaders in the Christian community, would explain. It's like, it's something completely different when you are scared of God, not fear of God, not a reverence, but genuinely scared to believe, to move, to live, because you feel like the guinea pig. I don't want to be a testament of faith. I never asked. I didn't want to be the example of like what strong faith is. That wasn't my MO. I didn't want it.
Yes.
And that other side where it's just like, yeah, we could read about miracles all day, don't mean we gonna get one.
Yeah.
and nobody talks about that. And the confusion that brings, because it's like,
what am I doing wrong?
What am I reading about a miracle for if the opposite is just gonna happen?
Yes.
And so many people were dying.
Yeah, and
that I was like, in my situation, I'm like, this don't end well. Healing is when you go to heaven. That ain't healing to me.
Yeah.
But so many people were dying younger than me, older. There was no reprieve from anything.
Yeah, that was.
You're talking about people that were close to you or people that was going through dialysis and stuff?
Far away, it didn't matter. So many people were dying from the same exact thing. And I was just like, it was just too much. And then when it actually started kicking in, and Rich would just call. He didn't want anything. He would just call. And when I say call, it first started like an hour, 3 hours. Then it became he's calling, and we are talking the entire 9 hours I'm on dialysis at night. And then after that, he get about an hour of sleep, and he going to work. And he did this consistently for like months.
Ask me what was wrong with me.
There wasn't nothing wrong with you.
Nah, because I mean, and I didn't know.
Let me tell you something, black man. Let me tell you something. That's how you love somebody.
Yeah.
That's how you love somebody with intentionality. That's how you love somebody to life. That's how you love somebody to you can heal somebody by that type of love. And it's amazing. The reason why this story resonates so much to me is because not only do I want to honor you with this episode, because as a black man, you are loving on a high level, but because most divorces, first of all, you got married to her while she was sick, but most people can't even handle it when they are in love with this person. They get married to this person goes through sickness, whether it's the husband or the wife, and they just can't handle it. So most people walk away from that marriage. But for you to intentionally, I had a friend on this episode, on the podcast, my friend Lauren, and she talked about how she has rheumatoid arthritis, and her boyfriend, who she loved so much, told her, I didn't sign up to take care of you for the rest of your life. And that was the end of their relationship.
That hurts my heart.
It made me so angry to hear that. But here it is, you saying, I see you. And the see is so powerful because you see her for the essence of who she is, who God called her to be, and the queen that she is. And it's irrefutable about what type of illness she's dealing with, whether or not she can physically see you. But from a spiritual standpoint, y'all see each other.
Now, here's the funny part.
Ooh, Jesus.
Because I don't know how you tapped into that, but that's the funny part. We joke about it now. It was like when we were good, you was all nice and thinkums and all that. Thickums. And I'm in the gym, I'm doing my thing, I'm getting tats because, I want to make this thing look good.
Yeah, y'all swole.
And it would never click. Never clicked. We was like bumping heads. All right, you doing too much. You a whole jerk because I'm not here being nice to you. This is how you gonna act. Didn't click at all. It wasn't until she got sick.
And that hurt my heart so
We
bad.
had the best communication. We got to know each other. And I said, oh, God, I see what you did. I see what you did. With all this other stuff, it was like,
it's blocking.
Okay, I could put forth the right effort, but that don't mean you know me.
Yes. And
this tough exterior that she got is so far from who she is.
There it is.
And so when I got to talk to her, I was like, it wasn't about nothing. It was just like, oh no, you're actually sweet. You're actually
at my core
giving.
I am such a sensitive, just baby. Like,
threw me off.
But I will never, people on the outside will never get like,
they will never get the access.
Threw me completely off. And I was still trying to understand because remember, there was some time in between us not talking.
Yeah.
So I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
I'm dating and I'm like, well, look, I'm single.
Yep.
Whatever you got going on, that's what you got going on. I'm good. And I don't know what made me reach out to her that day. But it just literally just started to change. But at the same time, stuff with me was starting to change. Like the dating thing. And I was like, picking up on cues, I'm like, okay, this isn't it. No disrespect to whoever I was dating at the time. It's like, look,
all the disrespect,
all or none.
Y'all wasn't as good as me. To this day, blind as a bat.
But y'all ain't as good as me.
I give good wife. Ain't nobody gonna beat me loving him, period. So let that be known.
Talk about it, Tiff.
To all your subscribers, all 50,000.
Let them know, Tiff.
Y'all hear this on his page, my page. Run up. Go ahead,
she said, pull up.
So all that.
She said you can't outwife her. Did you hear Tiffany?
You're not gonna outwife me.
You can't outwife her.
With Rich? Oh no.
Listen, and so all of that stuff began to like just it ran its course.
Yeah.
And when we started to communicate more, it was like she said, it was an hour, and I'm just like, wow. Now, funny stuff, but like this is the first time we talked this long on the phone without no, you know, all right, you doing too much, no awkward pauses, or like, what do I say next? It just, it was a natural conversation. So it was like, okay, we hit the reset button on that.
Good.
And so when we talked, I don't know how you talk to somebody that long.
9 hours.
And not even know it's been 9 hours. And I look.
You talking about the sun is up. I'm like, well, I can't see it. What you talking about?
And
you hooked up to a machine the whole time going through dialysis?
Mm-hmm. I could hear it beeping.
Mm-hmm. 9 hours.
And when we would kind of talk about that, because my brother would go into the dialysis center and she did her peritoneal, which was at the house. So they break up them days in the dialysis center. She's doing the full hours in one night.
Every night.
Every night. And so
every night.
Mm-hmm.
9 hours every night. It was it's a tube coming out my stomach, connected to a machine, connected to the tub to drain. And I cannot go anywhere.
Every night?
Every night.
Oh, help me understand this. Forgive me of my ignorance. Why did it have to be every night? What's going on?
The difference between peritoneal and then, you know, hemo is peritoneal is fluid based. So they put a glucose in your system and it flushes out your system and it goes through cycles throughout the night. And like every night, 9 hours, you just being flushed through this. And so it was a lot of wear and tear on the body. But
and you did that how long?
I did it for a year, 3 months, and I believe 2 days.
And this is me not knowing nothing up until that point.
My parents, like, it was so much going on. My grandmother is suffering terribly from dementia. They move her into the house. So I have my mom, which is taking care of a dying parent. And then my dad is taking care of pretty much a dying child. And their marriage was the one where I was like, this is a partnership. This is love. This is how you move together. But it was so bad on the house. And
I didn't know that was in play at the same time because, okay, like back up a bit. Prior to me even meeting her, my stepfather is off of his bout with cancer. A little bit after that, my mom has a diabetic spike. She's in the hospital. Brother, kidney disease pops up after that. And so I'm going to these little seminars because I'm like, all right, I was going to give my brother my kidney. And it's like, oh, no, you can't because you developed kidney stones and just ruled me out. But just hearing how that process goes, the waiting, if you pass a certain age, you're not even like considered to get one because, you know, just read between the lines of that.
Yeah, they say, hey.
And it's like listening to him talk about how the older people look at them and they're like, we hate y'all because y'all get a chance to live. We have to keep doing this until, you know, and it's like, for them, it's unfair. And for him, he's like, I'm just trying to live. Like, I'm sorry. And now that she's doing hers at home, I'm like, okay, you don't have to go through that. But it's like, you got that going on, and then now here's my friend.
People started dropping off.
And that's what got my goat. Because I've been in enough situations where it's like, okay, when you good to people, all right, cool. I'm not asking you for much if my time happens to be bad. Just be there. But if you can't do that, then I was only good to you when I was good.
Yeah.
And now imagine how that makes you feel when it's like, okay, I'm not asking you for much, and now you just feel like, okay, I'm useless to you, and you dip. Whether you said it or not, that's what you said.
Yeah.
And it struck a nerve with me because I'm like, oh no, we don't do that.
Yes.
We don't do that. It's like if it's good, it's good, and when it's bad, we here.
Yeah.
So nah, you don't pick and choose when you get to be a part of my life. And not only that, I'll get defensive for my friends. You don't pick and choose when you're going to come into their life. I'm like, oh, no, they trash. They can't come back.
There it is.
And so me and her sister, same page.
My sister do not mess with me because that one, all 5'2", small.
We'll talk about that later.
That one is scary, but it turned, like, when my family started noticing, you know, where's so-and-so? Have you done? And I'm like, I can't, nobody's calling. And it, like, I was to the point, I don't ask for anything.
Yeah.
I wasn't asking for much. I was like, yo, just call and tell me the good things happening in your life. It takes the focus off of what's going on with me.
Now, the Connecticut thing is like, okay, anytime something happened with my folk, I could be there.
Yeah.
It was too much distance. And so when she finally got to the point, she was like, Rich, can you come see me? I'll pay you. I got mad at her. I was like, I don't need you to pay for nothing.
Yeah.
You know, like, I got it. I just got this bomb job. I can pay for it.
I think I can afford a flight.
Right.
Yeah.
And when I say the timing of all of that was perfect, because it was like any situation outside of her that I had was literally just
gone.
Done. Done. Yep. Sorry, fun. Whatever it was, it's done. And it seemed to like, I'm like, God, you really must be walking us like you ain't said nothing, but your providence is around, because how do I know that this is going to end and this door opens up? And so it's like, all right, cool. When you coming down? My birthday. Now here's what amazes me about her. Lost sight, got to do this crazy dialysis all night. She wants to have a dinner party for me on my birthday and inviting her family to come.
Really?
And I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Y'all weren't even in a relationship then?
No, we were in a relationship then.
I think by that time we were.
But it was really early. Like, we was like 3-4 months in. It wasn't.
But this is what I did. I remember this because when she asked me to come down, she was like, are we dating? And I was like, man, I went right back to the beginning. I was like, yeah, finally, dude, I got it. Right?
Took you long enough.
Like, dang. But then it was like, wait a minute. There was some stuff transpiring before. Let's clear that up first before I, come to you. So when I finally got that out the way, that's when I'm like, all right, I'm coming down. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, this is your heart on display for me, because it's like, you technically don't have to do none of this at all. You don't need to. Yo, you gonna be on dialysis. I gotta go back to the hotel. You gotta stay here tonight. And you gonna have a dinner party, and I'm meeting your folks, and that was scary.
I bet it was.
Because I just heard about her dad. I hadn't seen him at the time. And so, just had this nice party, and it almost went bad. Cause
he showed up late. And so 4 months in, my dad comes to me. He's like, so what is this? Oh, what you mean, what is this? What is this? You serious? Yeah, y'all talking about marriage? Ain't nobody said, like.
Nobody said all that, but we serious.
Yeah, he's like, no. And so he said, make me a promise. I said, yo, what do you want? He said, do not get married until you get a transplant. Okay. No one knew I was getting a dual transplant just 3 months later. And so fast forward, and
don't forget, you was ready to call it. You was done.
That's what I'm about to say. This 1 week was like so life-changing, because it determined whether I was gonna be here to this day talking to you or not. This 1 week, it was just hard. body is just worn. I like psychosis again. When people go blind, they have this thing called my 24. And it's where you can't determine between days and nights. So you are just up. And everybody knows you do not get adequate sleep. Your brain, it just cuts. Borderline psychosis. So this last week, we had got a call for a kidney. Excited, all the way up until the point, couldn't get the kidney. On top of whatever depression, I was just like, whole family distraught. I mean, countenance of everybody is falling. It's, this was the hope, and it was ripped. And I never forget it. It was a week before Father's Day, so around this time. And I got asked to do a video for my church for a Father's Day tribute. And in my head, I had planned, I said, I'm not going on dialysis anymore, which is pretty much a suicide at that point. I'm going to leave, but I know I can give a tribute to my dad and my family, and I know the world will see it. And so we did the video, and in the video, I wanted my dad to know how much I appreciated him as a Black man, not just taking care of his kid, but his family, the emotional support from my mom, all of these things. I wanted to thank my mom, even though it was a dad's trip, Mom, thank you. Just I can say thank you to my family, and not just the world can see, how great my family is. And I had it stuck in my head. I did the video, and I remember the producer, he couldn't even say cut. He was in tears. And I just got up, took the mic off, and I told my mom, let's go. Went home, and my dad came up, our routine, because I have to do the whole sterilization and everything before I get on. And I told Dad, I said, Dad, I'm not doing dialysis anymore. I made my decision. I'm not doing dialysis anymore. This was Wednesday. And he said, all the work that me and you put in, and he said, just for me, hold on one more day. And I said, I'm going to do it for you. Only you. And I remember that night just crying the full 9 hours. Never went to sleep, just cried. And I woke up, got through the day, and I was like, all right, Dad, you ain't got to call back. I gave you your day. I'm not doing dialysis tonight. And I get a call from Rich, and I don't know what happened, but I wept again. And I said, I don't understand God. Like, I don't want to understand faith. I don't care about it at this point. I don't get it. I am in such pain. I gotta find something to end it. And it wasn't like suicide on the emotional or mental. I'm physically in pain, and I'm literally like digging like forks in my leg to divert the attention away from like them. It was just excruciating. And I told Rich, I said, I'm not doing it again. And he literally said these same exact words my dad said verbatim. He said, just one more day for me. And I said, listen, one more day. Literally the next day we got a call about a dual transplant. Go in, get the surgery, come out, and I got health back. It's everything changed. And
what year was this?
This was June 17, 2017. And I mean, everything changed overnight. It was, I feel different. I got energy. I can breathe. I hadn't been able to leave out of my room at night for over a year. I got home. I walked out of my room late at night. I went and got a drink of water. All the little things people take for granted. This is different, and then, Rich coming down, and it's like, we can spend time I don't have to go through rehab, and, I feel better, my legs work, all of these things, and just us talking about marriage, and it was just like, I actually get to live, I have a life now, I can do all of these things, and it was just so close, on the verge of like giving up and just like accepting death. And it was just like those two men just hadn't talked to each other, said the same exact things, and just got me through
2 days.
them 2 days. And it was so funny because in the hospital, I woke up for the first time after my surgery, and my dad was watching the video that I did the tribute for service. It was Sunday. It was Father's Day. And he watched the video, and my mom and dad are in tears. Mind you, my parents don't cry, but we all in the hospital room, and I wake up, and I'm like, just, like, what's going on? And dad is just like, he unconsoled, couldn't.
So you came out of your surgery
Came
on
out
Father's
of my
Day?
surgery on Father's Day, listening to the video, the tribute video, and he just.
Oh, well, I can't take this, Tiff. When I tell you God is so intentional, I can't outthink God. I mean, just think about that. You got these two kings in your life pushing you to your purpose, pushing you to life. And one says, just give me 24 hours. Do it for me. Another one says, just give me 24 hours. And then your blessing comes on the other end.
And I didn't even know that he said it. She told me much later, like, Dad said the same thing. And I'm like, really?
Yeah, they talk about it now, but like then they had no idea that they had said the same thing and everything.
And see, what I was talking about was when your father told you that man, he loves you. He's sitting on the phone with you for 9 hours every day. That man loves you.
Yeah.
And
he was like, no man spends his time like that.
it was crazy because I'm like, it must have been subconscious because I was trying to push that, like, nope, Rich, that ain't important right now. Like, but like low key, you do.
You do love her, but hey, long,
you do, but
she needs you right now.
Like
You doing it. You just been a friend. You just been a friend.
I'm just being a friend, and then
I remember when I got my transplant, and he was talking about marriage. I said, listen, I cannot make up for them for all the years I done stuck you in the friend zone. But I say, as long as I live, I will love you as hard as I can to make up for the moments. And I mean, we chuckled about it, but I was so serious. It was, if I could go back, because it would be moments when we got married that I think about it. I'm like, if I would have just gave in and we could have just dated when I was healthy, we could have had way more moments of just.
God knew exactly what
See, he's shaking his head no. Tell me why you shaking your head no.
Because it didn't happen that way.
There it is.
It didn't.
It's as simple as that.
It just didn't because we can only say that in hindsight, but like at that moment, we were in different places, figuring things out, having different experiences. So God being all seeing and all knowing probably said, look, if I let you two get together, y'all gonna wreck it in.
At this stage, if y'all did it earlier, I need y'all to go through some little something.
Yeah, and it's like whatever he had planned for us, we would have been prodigal with it.
Yeah,
we'd have wasted it because I know the mind frame I was in then wasn't suitable for what we got now. I know that.
Yeah,
and so when I brought it up, I knew. I may not have fully understood, but I knew enough to know that, like, okay, it's not going to get any better for me without her.
Rich, I want you to say that one more time for the people in the back need to hear that.
Where the camera's at?
Yeah, they right there. Go that center counter, that center one.
It was not going to get better for me without her. Because, and again, it's like, for me, with my growth and through all of this, it's like, I don't have to put any of my old relationships down to be to uplift this one. They're like, no, it is what it is.
Talk about it.
With her, I get challenged. I get pushed when I don't want to be. I get encouraged. I get love. And sometimes I'm sitting over here like, okay, I'm not used to this. I'm not used to it. So what's wrong with me?
She ever challenging you?
It's like, it bugs me out now because it's like when people kind of say what they want, and they actually get it. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, there's some stuff that come with it. And I'm figuring that out now.
Yeah.
Not only that, but she can see things I haven't even been aware of because it's been so normal for me. So she's like, oh no, you too loud. I'm not loud. Like, that's a normal decibel for me.
He's got a normal decibel.
To her, it's like, oh no, you loud.
He got like this East Coast aggression that
Yeah,
comes out.
yeah.
And I
Hey,
was
well, we
like,
talk with
you
our
in the
hands
South,
and we-
bro, like, calm all that down. We can have a conversation and get through some things, but you're not gonna come at me.
And I come back.
Your son.
I come back to that.
Your son?
Like, three
Your son?
different occasions. It's like, okay, with her, she was the first one to say it. I go to the barbershop. Yeah, we don't play it. Like, not that I did anything to him. It's like, hey, bro, yeah, we don't play that loud stuff out here, man. Just be cool. You be all right. And I'm like, bet. I picked bet up for being out here. Like, I ain't never said it. But it's like, bet. I'm like, all right, cool. And so
We were, ultimately, it was a lot of his upbringing coming out in the challenges of our marriage, where I had to look past, like, you know, this anger and aggression. Oh, he wasn't able to talk when he was younger. He couldn't articulate how he felt. He, you know, emotions are fine in this safe place. And it's like the majority, like,
oh, you have no idea.
Marriage.
The mind job this
gosh.
whole thing has done for me. And it was funny.
I wish people would tell the truth about marriage.
I got you.
You got
I
it.
got you.
Okay, okay.
Rich, go ahead. Give this commentary.
So I'm gonna just walk through it. So before we even got married, there was this whole discussion about who's moving. And for me, it was like, okay, I'm attached to my mom's ministry, and I'm thinking I'm supposed to finish that out. Now, I don't have dreams and premonitions, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm thinking that's what it is.
Me, I don't care about what your mama.
Right.
I ain't
Right.
moving.
And I'm sitting over here, like, I'm trying to do God's will the best I can to this, that, and the third.
Are you rich?
And she just sitting over here like,
Really?
ain't nobody moving in Connecticut. I see y'all taxes. Like, you get more bang for your buck out here. And I'm like, we having those little practical conversations. Right.
But then,
But then it gets to like, she's like, look, I ain't coming up there because guess what? God told me if I move up there, we're getting a divorce. So I'm sitting there like, oh.
and it wasn't even on no surface level.
It wasn't
literally, God came to me and he said, listen, you moved to Connecticut. Your first year going to have challenges. You will end in divorce. And it was so real, and that I sat on it for like months. And finally, because I was trying to convince Rich on like on a physical, like taxes.
Yeah, just financial standpoint.
And then flat out, I said, you're not hearing me. God told me, do not move up there or it's the end of it. And I'm like, if you know me, you know I ain't out here telling me God told me. So for me to say it.
Threw me through. I'm like, who told you?
I said, no.
To God? You said, who God?
I heard this. It was audible. I know what he said. Lo and behold, never would have thought. We get married, that first year is hell. And if we were in Connecticut,
yeah, we would.
Never would have made it.
I'm saying it out of my own mouth.
His mom said we wouldn't have made it. My parents,
Really?
like, we would have never made it through that.
And they said that, they confirmed that after.
Everybody, anybody who knows our situation, know that if I was up there, I would have been dead.
Oh yeah, so tell people what happened. The first year of your marriage, so you got your kidney transplant. And what
dual transplant.
Dual transplant.
So I don't have diabetes. I don't have to do, any dialysis. I'm good. Only thing, I'm blind, but I done got all around that.
All right, so I got you on this. So we got married January. So it's March. It's my birthday.
January
17.
2017.
So
January 17,
2019.
2019.
Oh, 2019. I thought y'all got married in 2019.
No, so we
January 17th.
Go
ahead.
I'm like, that's the
So it's my birthday, March 4th. We had dinner. They brought the aunts, uncles all come to dinner, right? And the next day, she goes into the hospital, and I'm like, okay, what's going on here?
We thought we were pregnant, which for me went from like, ain't nobody trying to have no kids this early in our marriage.
Like we wouldn't try to not the first day. Like
I
ain't even get a year in yet, and this is what we do.
But like on the flip side of that, it was exciting because it's like, for me, it was I get to have his baby. we get to have a family.
Yeah.
I get,
Shoot, I get to figure out a name. Like,
it was just like exciting. And so we're in the hospital, and the nurse comes in, and they go, early detection of rejection of your kidney. So we went from, okay, we thinking about life, creating life, to now we got to talk about death. They're asking me power of attorney. Do you have a living will? And I'm like, wait. I just got married. He just, it's so many things flashing. I'm like, we were just, talking about like getting more space, for kids. And it just,
honeymoon.
Heartbroken. Like, I was just like, my body betrayed me, like God betrayed, all of these things. And
I'm over here malfunctioning. Because like I heard what you said. I didn't process none of it because I'm used to not processing none of it.
Yeah.
Everything that had happened before, prior to her, there was no time to process. No, we got to figure out, get this done. All y'all can go ahead and cry somewhere else.
Yeah,
we got to focus on this. And so I think now I'm looking back at it, and it's like, my psyche and everything else is telling me, boy, you depressed. Boy, you stressed.
He would be so angry. Like, his energy in the hospital rooms. And I'm like, I think he sat down one day. I said, babe, you're depressed.
And I don't know what depression is.
I said, no. You're not eating.
He said, I don't know what depression is.
Like, no,
he genuinely had no idea. He thought it was like the commercials where,
I don't feel down. But like, if you telling me I'm depressed, and I'm like, I don't know what depressions feel like, so I'm gonna automatically tell you, no, I'm not. But I'm angry though.
Yeah.
And he yelling at nurses.
No, listen. I yelled at that nurse because.
Oh my God, you ain't even had to pinpoint a moment.
No. I'm sorry. I'm there.
You telling the world about like.
No, I'm there. I'm sorry, world. But no, it's like when you're going through that, and you got to start learning to ask these questions, and you remember what other people have done prior to.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, they tell you something. All right, I remember that. The next person comes in, I tell them what they told us. You choose to do something else that puts her in pain. Yeah, I'm mad at you. I just told you.
Yes.
Don't do that. I don't care about my height, how I was looking.
This 6'4", 250.
I don't care nothing about it.
Literally towering over these nurses.
I don't care. I told you.
had to sit him down. I had to call my dad. I said, you need to switch shifts.
He was snapping on him.
I said, Rich, you can't, they'll kick you out and you can't come help me.
No, but it was like, listen, if everybody else seems to know, okay, she's a hard stick.
For those who don't know what that is when you get in blood and your veins are either small or rolling, they just poke you. Like a pincushion. And it's just, they were poking me in between my knuckles, trying to find it in my neck.
And she told them, hey, don't poke me here, don't poke me here. Find that other machine y'all got to get the blood. They understood that. This one person didn't understand it. And we telling you, this is what everybody else has been doing. Oh no, I can get it. You got a few tries. You got a few tries to get it. And now I'm looking at her. She is trying to be a champ. I'm listening there like, oh no, we told you.
Yes.
Stop.
Yeah.
Figure out another way.
He just rode up on the woman.
And she's like,
you said
he just rode up on the woman.
Because it's like, okay, from my vantage point, I'm looking at her.
You like, you better quit hurting my woman.
Yeah, she's over here wincing, and I'm like, oh no. And you just
I don't blame you for that, Rich.
Huh?
I don't blame you for that.
No, and she will never win that argument with me.
Yeah, because as a husband, man, you're a protector, and you watch her go through so much pain, and you like, this is something that we can control. You don't have to do this.
There was another alternative for it, and you chose to like, oh no, I can get it, and I'm looking at the blood not coming through the tube.
But I'm trying to tell him, I said, Rich, I done been in the hospital. Like, I know what this is. I'm like, you can't do that. I need you here. Yeah, I can't have them banning you. And then on top of that, I need these nurses to treat me right when you gone.
That's real.
I needed them to treat her right.
While I'm here.
Right.
But like that year, it was just so much because you got him transition. He has never been anywhere outside of Connecticut as far as living.
As far as living.
Yeah.
He comes down, brand new everything. What was bad about, I'm in the hospital for like months. It wasn't like a week stay. I am in the hospital for months, and he can't actually get a job because he has to help me when he's trying to find a job.
There wasn't no job going to be
No
that lenient.
And so,
your first time there
at all.
You got
talking about, you need to take off already.
You got a man.
They like, go ahead, take off. Don't come
That's
back.
like trying. He can't fix my health situation.
Yeah, that's heavy for a man.
Helpless. He can't get a job, and we know how men and providing hand in hand. And I'm trying to tell him like, babe, I done saved them money. We good. That's not in his head. No. So when he came, I said,
you got $50 million in your bank account, be like, I can't be that dude. I got to go work and do
it was a thing.
And that's what it was. It was like, listen, I have nothing. Nothing. I came down here hoping, did my due diligence of trying to find something. It didn't pan out cool. I'm here now. We'll hit the ground running. No. No, and I'm trying to tell her, like, listen, I've been in this situation before. I hadn't worked for 3 years. You think I'm going to do this again? With this happening?
Yeah, if my first year of marriage with somebody struggling through all this health stuff.
He was at home by himself. So he married and single. He's going home to an empty bed. I'm sick. They were never giving us good news. It was always bad. It was always dim. He's not like, when I say he changed, it was his demeanor. He's naturally a happy-go-lucky. It was gone.
And cracking jokes all the time.
It was gone. He was just angry, not eating or eating too much, going to sleep, not going to sleep. It was such a roller coaster.
And I didn't know what was happening. I couldn't tell you.
It'd be like, how are you today, Rich? Fine. Whoa. And it was just built. Like, it was just like, I
said I'm fine.
He could not catch up. It was just, I
done told 3 other people I was fine, and now I got to the 4th one, and I told them other 3 I was fine, not knowing you ain't had nothing to do with that, right? Nothing to do with it. And
it was this one moment where I got so sick, and I had jumped up, and when I say sick, just couldn't keep anything down. All the nurses are rushing in, and he kind of lifts me up, and and in this moment, I don't know what happened. He was trying to embrace me and hold me up. Give me, it was like a hug, but he was just trying to hold me. And I kept pushing him away because I'm like, I'm about to faint, I don't know if it broke him, but he broke. I'd never experienced a man breaking, but he just, when I'm like, I'm fainting, I can't, and the nurses are trying to catch me, he's just trying to hold me, and I'm just going, and once I finally hit the bed, and they just he just broke. And it was when he left and the nurses came back and they was like, we know it's rough on y'all. It was just too much. It makes me emotional to this day how he just to feel somebody physically just kind of give it up. It just, I have nothing. And that's what it felt with him in that moment where it's I'm trying to hold my wife up and I'm about to break and I'm just
it's weird.
I was like, hard, Rich, I don't let me go.
Any of that.
And it's
really hard to explain any of it because again, I'm transitioning. So not only am I transitioning, everything with me is transitioning to get adjusted to here.
Yeah.
Not just to here, to her, not just to
her,
life. To what's currently happening right now.
Yeah.
And I have no vantage point for it. I have no point of reference to figure this out. And I'm like, I can now say, yeah, I'm lost. I'm completely lost because I can't lean on you. I won't because you got enough going on as it is. I haven't developed this rapport with your parents. I'm still low-key scared of them. You know what I mean? I haven't developed anything yet. And they're like, oh, yeah, you can call us. And I'm like, okay, now I'm reverting back to old habits where it's yeah, I've heard that before.
Yeah.
I'm not going to bank on it.
Yeah.
And it was...
He didn't have support.
It was dumb.
Yeah, he didn't have support.
When I say dumb, I mean dumb in the sense where it's like,
I know it's that East Coast saying dumb.
It was like, this is dumb. This is really, really dumb. I didn't come out here for this.
Yeah. Let's go back to when you proposed to her.
Didn't do it.
We didn't have a proposal.
What happened? What happened? How'd y'all get married? Y'all just said, hey, we married.
So here's what happened. It was like, okay, we talking about it, and she goes, you know, you're gonna have to talk to my parents about it, right? And I'm like, okay. So her grandmother and aunts and uncles live in Virginia, and so they were going to visit, and you know, spend some time up there. And I was like, hey, Virginia's only 5 hours from me. I can ride up, and so I'm like telling my mom, I'm like, hey, Mom, I'm about to go to Virginia, and she's like, that'll be the good time to talk to Mr. Robinson. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. And I'm like, okay, this is happening, right? Mm-hmm. So get there, it's the next day. I'm outside hooping with the cousins, playing basketball. Dad is at the grill. Everybody happens to go in the house, and I'm like, this is it. This is it. And so I say, hey, sir, listen, you know, but I do have plans of marrying Tiffany, but I do want to move out to Texas. But before I even do all that, he was like, y'all grown. You do what you want. And I'm sitting up there, I done freaked out this whole time thinking like I'm going to get the riot act from him.
He told me, y'all grown.
He said, y'all grown. You can do what you want. And he smiled, though, which kind of let me know, I'm like, oh, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good. It wasn't even him. It was my mom.
And that woman.
Your mom?
No, not my mom. I call her mom. Okay. My mother-in-law.
Okay.
That woman.
So,
that woman.
So I go to the house, and I'm telling all my cousins, I tell my sister-in-law, I'm like, hey, talk to Dad. We should be solid. Mm-hmm. And as they're doing their own thing, my mother-in-law walks by. She's like, I was like, hey, I like that shirt. She's like, yeah, I got to get somebody else added to it.
It was a shirt of me, my sister, and my brother-in-law.
And she said, yeah, I got to get another one added to it, and floats away, right? Like literally floated away. And I was like, oh, he done told her, right? So I tell Tiff, I said, hey, babe, he told her. Nah, he ain't tell her. I'm like, no, he told her. And so next day, he said, we'll talk more about it in the morning. So I meet him in the morning, and when me and him get up, I see out the corner of my eye, my mother-in-law get up. I'm like, oh, here we go. And it wasn't so much that they had any issue with me and her getting married, just know what you're getting into.
Yeah.
It's like her health concerns, this, that, and the third. And I told him, well, here's my history with that. So I'm not saying that I have it all figured out, but I'm ready to embrace whatever comes with it. If that's what we got to do, then that's what we got to do. So there's no getting around that. I'm not running from that. And they was like, okay, well, you got our support. If y'all need anything, let us know. And he said, listen, if it don't work out, just return her the way you found her. And that was that.
I said that to my daughter's. It's her fiance now, but while he was dating her, they went to college. I said, return her the way you found her. Unopened.
No.
That's what I told him.
It was funny it was other people talking about, you know, hi, I'm so-and-so, I got this, I got that. And I'm like, I don't care. I already talked to the two main people, so you just talking right now at this point. I ain't worried about you.
I ain't threatened by y'all.
I got a gun. So that's nice.
So then y'all had that conversation, and then what? Y'all just said, hey, meet me at the altar in your white dress? That was the
end of August. That was Labor Day weekend. And then he came down in October and brought his mom and his aunt.
2018?
No, same year. Yeah,
2018.
Yeah, 2018. Mm-hmm. And while he's there, we go look at apartments, sign a lease on an apartment. Which I don't even know why we did it, because we weren't, nothing was set in stone. Yeah. He just signed it. And so I kept it to myself. And I love that particular weekend because, of course, in my family fashion, he got people coming down, we don't have a party. So Rich don't talk about nobody in his family but his mama and his aunt. And so they came down, and of course my family like, oh, we family now. Like no, ain't nobody put out no ring or nothing, but everybody family now. Great, just a great day.
No, the funny part was how it happened. Tiff, as a present to my mom, had got her a registration for Woman Dollar Loose. And so my mom was like,
she was happy.
Oh, yes. And so my mom tells my aunt, when are you supposed to go? She's like, oh, but I'm going. And I'm like, all right, bet. So it's the three of us. And we get out there, and my aunt had the time of her life. That Sunday, we had family dinner. So
watching the game, the Cowboys.
My mom, my aunt, my uncle came, the same one that held me up, came through. And so it was I had a blast that they had a good time mingling with the fam. Not knowing that next week. What?
December.
December?
It was December.
What? Oh, okay. All right, you're right. So
that was the conference was the end of October.
So it was like, yeah, you're right. So
not knowing December was what?
December 7th, his aunt passed.
And
the funeral was on our anniversary.
Yeah. So it was like her last, she got to see Tiff before. She got to see who my future family was going to be. And she said to me that was the best trip I've been on in a long time. And not knowing, like, that week, she had led a lot of stuff in service. She was a preacher that day. She did the Bible study, Friday night prayer. That Saturday, after she did all that all week, she passed. And I just remember going up, me and my mom was going up, like, here we go again.
Yep.
Like, because my aunt, she's been fighting health her whole, like, latter part of her life. So if there's one thing she's going to do, she's going to fight. But just that time felt different.
Yeah.
Because everything leading up to going to see her was God like, no, I'm taking her. I'm taking her this time. And we got there, and it was like, okay, we thinking she's an emergency. No, she's not an emergency. You had to go around the front. Went around the front, the computer shut down. Okay, cool. Yeah, but she might be on this floor. We go to the floor. Oh, no, she's not there. She's downstairs. Okay, so we go back downstairs, and the whole time, usually me and my mom have this indication where we know it's going to be all right. It was none of that.
I knew it was final.
By the time we walked in, we were looking for her room. And when I looked and I saw everybody outside the room praying, I said,
yeah. And
so it was kind of like, again, another situation I haven't processed yet.
Yeah.
Because now we're the first ones there all the time. So now we have to tell everybody else, here's the thing, get these things in order.
So this was December of 2018, and then the next month y'all got married.
Yeah, like we talked on the phone. And now, mind you, my sister had just gotten married March of that year. Her wedding should have been on Platinum Weddings. I mean,
it was amazing.
Insane. And I'm not saying that, like, legitimate, like, go look at magazines in the city. She's in them. Like, it was, I was like, I looked at Rich. I looked at Rich. Blind. I looked at Rich. I said, I would never do this. This was too much. Too much. I mean.
Hold on. How you know how it looked?
Everybody telling me, everybody's losing their mind about this wedding.
You didn't need eyes to know what was happening.
Really? It was where just that extravagant.
Where she had it, and it was a thing. It was like
it was beautiful, but it was like, oh no.
It was too much.
You was like, wait for do all that?
No.
Too much.
No.
And it was funny because when I walked down the aisle of her wedding, Rich said, "You better act like this our wedding." So in the pictures, it look like it's our wedding. So we going down.
What you say? You better act like this.
He get me up, because I'm the maid of honor.
I made the beans, I made the rice.
He gave me a kiss, and we both leaned and was like, "I do." And like, we acted like we feeding each other cake. All of the things, but like,
I love it.
No, when New Year's, we were We were somewhere, and I told my mom, I said, "Hey, me and Rich getting married in 2 weeks."
That's how you said it.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't.
You not getting no.
It didn't take long at all. It
invites.
You see, I ain't getting no invite.
I said, "This is what I want." Boom, 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 boom. I called Charnel. Charnel had been there from jump when I had my vision.
Shout out to Charnel.
Shout out to Charnel. I said, "This is what I want my hair and my makeup." I called this seamstress. I said, "I want my dress to look." I knew what I wanted. I want pencil skirt, classy, 1920 feel. I want my decorate. Had it planned out. My dad loved it. My dad doesn't. He is the most low maintenance.
And he was like, "What y'all need?"
I said, "I need you to do this." Gotcha. My mom, we gotta invite. Well, why can't we do this? And girl,
this is what we doing this. So y'all got married in the pastor's office.
I said, "You had your wedding with your other daughter.
Beautiful.
This, I want to hear and I want to go." And it was the most beautiful night. I mean, we were surrounded.
I saw some pictures. Some pictures beautiful.
And listen,
Y'all that's beautiful.
Listen, for me, it was like
it was spiritual.
For me, it was funny because my mother was like, "Oh no, this is bigger than what you think it is."
She kept saying our marriage is bigger than what, and I was like, I am not trying to do nothing about our like. I'm not trying to be no Instagram inspiration thing. Leave me alone.
We ain't about to start no movement to try to help
everybody wants us to do a podcast, and
it is like, can we get through life?
I'm like, you want me to do a podcast?
Can we get
you want me
life?
to produce a podcast? No, I can't say nothing. No.
And then it's like we ain't authorized to give people life advice like that unless God talk to us. We ain't trying to be responsible for what we say to you.
Tell us what your secret is. Secret.
But the powerful thing about it is not so much of giving people advice. It's just people just look at what you're doing. That's what this whole this episode
on that, I'm great with.
Yeah, just let them see.
But if you asking me advice, I'm like, listen.
No, just let them watch it.
It just seemed like people want us to capitalize off of, and I'm like,
well, no, it's not so much as capitalize.
No, it's people who's like,
oh, for real?
Y'all need to write a book.
It's
like,
hey, you need to tell a story.
Write it.
And say what?
What you saying now? Just write a story about. You can write a powerful story about loving somebody. Like what we don't realize is that the Bible calls us walking epistles. So those epistle is a book that you read. So it's like when we rereading y'all. Like that's what
we're about to not be best friends no more.
Why? Because I said walking epistles.
Because you trying to weave in it.
Listen, we know you mean well though. We know you mean well. It's just with us. It's like we really.
Y'all not like that. Y'all.
I'll tell you why I don't
marketing
want
genius
the attention.
over here, but tell me why.
I'll tell you why I don't want the attention and stuff from it. We would go out and I would hear it. It would be this one nurse, and it.
Look at Rich.
We walking through the hospital, and she's like, "Are you completely blind?" And I said, "Yeah." And so she was like, "Well, who is this with you?" I said, "Oh, this is my husband." And she said, "How you get married and you blind?" And I look this way, and I don't have anybody.
And all I remember is when we walked back to the room, and she said it again, and I looked at her. I'm like, "You must be crazy then."
He just said that, so you must be crazy. But then it was like, after that, when we go out in public, I would hear people, "Oh."
The lady said that out her mouth.
Out her mouth.
And I looked at her like, no, there's a reason. It don't matter how I look. You crazy.
But then it just started coming everywhere. We would go random places. Me and
Hold on, let me just put this in perspective. Was she laughing when she said that?
No.
She just said straight up like, how you get married?
She was almost borderline kind of like.
Mad.
And here's what it was, because she was our nurse a few nights. So it was like, she kept seeing it, and I think she was trying to process like, who are you? And then when she finally asked, and it was like, oh wait, this your husband? Oh, nah, like, I got everything on me, and it's like, I can't get one? Yeah, because you crazy.
Now, I know you got
and don't project that onto us. Like, get out of here.
Friendly podcast.
No, my podcast keep it lit. We live intentionally and transparently, so speak your heart on my show.
I was like, you better get all these compound cuss words.
Not the compound.
I was
those make the synthesis
I was like,
better.
yo, I will throw hands. Blind, not blind. You tried it. You really tried. And I ain't got the energy right now. But get these antibiotics in my system. Me and you, broad, like, oh man, it took me to the roof. But like,
over here, like,
everywhere we went, it was
one of us got to be cool because
I go off in public.
My mom got that tell her, she's like, look, one of y'all has to be cool, because if y'all both go off.
Every time we go in public, it be something. It be something.
Remember the girl that prayed?
Okay, I'm gonna let y'all kind of guess this woman's
No, I got
background.
I got you.
I'm getting livid right now.
It'll do that, right?
You get mad too.
So we went to this juice bar. And we just having a moment. Me and her, they play some music. So I pick her up and we slow dance. Mind you, you'll guess in a minute. Somebody's watching off in the distance.
Look, Karen.
Right? So
leaving, just trying to get my juice.
We get her juice and we try to leave. And she's like, can I pray for you guys? And we're like, we don't want to be rude. We let her pray.
I'm trying to think, for what?
Because I think when she realized, like, oh, Tiff is blind because I'm leading her. And she's like, oh, well, can I pray? And she prayed, and so we getting ready to leave. She's like, wait, is there a way we can test this out?
And I'm like,
what?
I'm confused.
Like,
I don't know who to look at.
We let you pray.
I don't know where folks is. I'm like, I need somebody to like help me, look at me, give me a cue, something. And I said, test what out? Let's see if this prayer worked.
And in my head,
what you want me to do?
And in my head, I'm like, you know what? No, it didn't work. Now get out of here.
But it wasn't. I was like, girl, there's way too much pressure on me. Now if I move this cane and I run into a wall, then I feel like you ain't gonna believe in God.
We billing your insurance. How about that? So
I said, she was like, what happened? It's still dark.
He said if I run through the wall.
It's still dark, ma'am. Hopefully it'll come later. Yes, ma'am.
Mm-hmm. We'll come right back here and find you.
And I'll let you know. We leave, and I was
like, she was like, Rich, God give me my sight back. It ain't happening like this. Like, I know.
That's why I don't want the attention. People say, do this, and I be like, no. Everywhere we go, somebody trying to like, tell me your story. Pray for he must really love you. And I'm like, can he just love me?
And I'm
Why can't I just give good wife and just so happen to be blind?
I'm sitting over here like, I got enough.
I like they say, get good wife.
I got enough to deal with trying to make sure I'm good and deal with her to write some book.
Then this when it irks me. When people be like, you married? Yeah.
Chanel, what's wrong with your friends?
How you take care of them? What you mean how I take care of them?
She could.
It get real part. I done had several women come up to me. Well, how do y'all have sex? Ma'am, do you always have the lights on when you have sex? All right.
The lights is always off.
Okay, when the lights always off for me. Get out my drawers. Like,
you talking about total strangers walk up and say this.
Once they figure out we married, and then they get past the whole love story, the what's that movie? The Walking to Remember movie. Then they got questions because I'm trying to figure out how a blind person functions. Ma'am, I do the same things you do. Just imagine with the lights off. It ain't that hard. I am not spectacular. There's nothing extra about my ordinary. I am living. We are living. We are chill. It is times he forgets all the time that I'm blind.
Yeah.
Because it's normal now. It's like we learn how to function to this point where it's like I do forget.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll hand her something like, oh, my bad.
I'll be like, yo, Rich, where my pumps at? Over there. Where's there? Where's there?
Rich, did you say over there?
Yeah, like over there. Like
that's why when I wake up in the morning, I slap the hell out of him. Just for anything in the future that's gonna happen.
She hits me.
Just so I ain't gotta slap him then and try to find him. I know exactly where he is when we wake up in the morning.
I knew something was
I just hit him just
because he gonna do something crazy that day.
You gonna deserve this later.
That's what she do. She'll search me out.
I rub him good on his chest in the morning and just whack him. I'm like, what's that for? Later.
He tell me where my pumps at over there.
Like one time me and Dad did it. Like we was like, she's like, where's the napkin? We both pointed to it.
And I sat there and I said, y'all both pointed, didn't y'all? And they just crack up laughing. I hate y'all.
It's like we pointed and we looked at each other like, yo, she can't see it. I know.
Happens all the time. But no, that's what I'm saying with the public. It just be like.
You said you don't want all that crazy attention.
We just trying to eat. You ain't got to interrupt us at dinner.
And for me, it's like I haven't there's so much living I still have to do to be telling anybody anything, or this story isn't finished.
We don't have the advice.
So it's like, and I think from what we see, not saying that everybody do it, but just from what we see, the minute somebody goes through something, oh, I got to write about it. I got to tell a story. And it's like.
Just because you experienced it.
And then it's like.
Does not make you an expert.
Hey. Give it time. It's not finished yet. And before you know it, if you haven't finished living this out, you might make a mistake and relive it again. Mm-hmm. And I know people who have done that. It's like, you too quick to tell me something.
Yes.
And you ain't figured it out yet.
And
I'm telling you, we haven't. Yeah.
Let me share my story. And you still healing.
Yes. That's powerful.
So it's like, we ain't trying to bleed on nobody.
You say it again?
We are not trying to bleed on nobody.
There it is.
This ain't no story we want to capitalize on. Like, no, we are still trying to live. I'm still learning who I am with her.
Yes.
And her with me. You think we got time to tell y'all what to do?
Now, hold on.
Look.
While we're going through this life experience, and once, if people are around us and they see it and they inspired by it and ask, that is an absolute moment where we can share. I do not take that up. If anybody, I am not going to go out here and promote, and just be living off of a struggle, of an experience, of suffering. But if anybody pulls me over, just ask. I am quick to share my testimony. Let me tell you what depression is. Let me tell you what suicide is. Let me tell you what love does. I love telling my story, my love story. Like it's not that I just love, like it's a spiritual experience to be like married to Rich. I love sharing it. That's transformative.
Yeah.
But you're not going to catch me out here trying to get Instagram, and then you got me selling teas.
Now we got a whole identity around this.
Yeah, and that's not us.
Around this thing, and like, okay, God healer, like, now we got to go through a whole nother experience to tell you something else. Like, look, if God just delivers the message and say, hey, say this, we'll say it. You act like we had a conversation with you. Yeah. You was like, come on, let's share. And I'm like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
That's divine.
That's fine, but it's like, all right, we got to go to a photo shoot to promote this new. I'm not doing that.
You're going to have me on Instagram selling canes.
It is no offense to anybody else who does, but it's like, we're learning our identity is a little more than that. And so, just for us, if we just narrow it down to this, God will have to do something else so that we can be used to reach more people. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be pigeonholed like that.
I literally want God to pull me to the people that like need it. Yeah. I don't have to. I ain't got to brand myself. A lot of people is and as a marketing professional.
Yeah, that's why I want to get on.
That's
why I'm
ironic. Which is so. I'm like, when I sit back and people, you got to brand yourself, and I'm sitting there like,
listen,
and I'm not big on the law of attraction and everything because biblical over here. Mm-hmm. But what I am saying is, and especially with Christian leaders, when I got to brand myself, no, you don't. No, you don't.
Listen.
What's going on with me and Rich, the people that I have met going through similar things have found me. I don't know how. Mm-hmm. They have found me, and it's always God moments. I am not out pushing them. They have always been God moments. When we out, and, somebody does see us, and once we get past that whole, when somebody genuinely comes up and like, I'm going, in the middle of a separation. How y'all sticking it out?
Yeah, that's powerful.
Sure. Let me, I'm not going to give you advice on what you should do in your marriage. I'm going to tell you
what we
did.
That's it.
And how it's a struggle.
Yeah, this isn't a one-size-fits-all situation here. Like, I'm pretty sure there's other people who have a similar story, but how they deal with it and how they're reacting to it can be totally different from ours. And so to try to like project our story onto them, it may not fit. It's like, okay, Saul, David, put this on and go fight. I can't wear that. Mm-hmm. That's going to hinder me in my fight.
Yes, talk about it.
So for me, it's almost like a little arrogant to think that like what I say shouldn't matter that much to anybody else. It's what I say, here, do it, it'll work. No, it may not. So God has to speak to us to speak to you directly.
See, what I think it is, Rich and Tiff, is that it's not so much of y'all being some type of marriage counselors or saying what you should. Step number one is do this. When I launched this podcast, it was strictly when God told me to do this last year in April. I said, God, I ain't no guru, I ain't no specialist, I'm not no therapist, I'm not any of that. I said, if I do a podcast, all I'm gonna do is just invite people on my journey. They're gonna see my mistakes, they're gonna hear me just talk about me and my journey of it. My journey to manifesting my future wifey. And I said, so they're going to just watch this journey. And I want to bring guests on that I can glean information. They won't even realize what they're pouring into me, how what they may be speaking on these episodes are speaking to those crevices in my heart and my soul. I said, they have no idea. We're just going to have conversations, but it's going to enlighten me and illuminate inside of me stuff that they don't even realize.
You the good stuff that got filtered out from that deal. Everybody, whatever Cash App that he has, whatever Zelle, make sure you support that because, okay, I'm gonna stop. Because I think it's the intention behind it.
Yeah, it's the intention.
It's definitely
the
intention. And it's like for some, it's like, oh no, you need this attention in the worst way.
Exactly.
We don't. But for what you just said, it's like, oh no. A lot of people can piece some things together and you can get a nice little work of art. So I ain't mad at that at all.
And so with me was that reason why I wanted y'all on the show is because just hearing the project that we were working on, which we're about to go into now, is that I said, I can't let that story just be just for this video we're doing. And I said, because it's speaking to me. Like, it's challenging me. You didn't say, Lateris, what you need to do is find a woman that doesn't have sight and marry her. But you challenged me as a man to look beyond whatever little idiosyncrasies that she may have with health or whatever, or any physical limitations or whatever it is, and say, see her.
And that was the biggest thing for me, because it was like, okay, you've seen it and done it. You've seen it and done it. And you realize, or at least I realized, I'm like, it don't matter how it's packaged. It doesn't. And when you get past that to see her, it's like, oh no. All that other stuff you can work on. But what you need, what you absolutely need, and that's a statement that can cover all grounds. What you need is this. And to put the weight on that for me right now, where it's like, and I'll share this, I don't care. I'm in counseling right now. Counseling.
You should be.
Right. But where I come from, we don't counsel.
Do that. No, especially men, period. Black men
counsel.
Don't do that. No, you just deal with the stuff and then die from the stress.
Die from the stress of it,
The stress of it. Just crazy.
Or you trying to figure it out and you just repeating the cycle over and over again, and it's like
for generations.
Yeah. And so
I applaud you, black man, for going through counseling.
And the thing is, it's like, she told me to go.
And most men wouldn't do it because she said it.
But that's the thing about it. It was like, okay, Rich, you had to get past the point where your defenses are way too high and she's not trying to kill you.
Yeah.
She's not trying to bully you. She's not trying to
No, I mean, we would have
full-blown.
And I'm saying like, Rich, you don't know how to talk to me.
And I had to figure that out.
I am not I'm married to you. So me coming to you is not to pick on you.
Yeah.
Is you getting help benefits me. And it took so long for him to kind of like get it, where I'm like, our arguments,
and they're not like,
yeah, we ain't out here like, because here's the thing, when you need somebody, all that little stuff, that petty stuff you want to get mad and do it, I can't do it. Eventually I'm gonna need him for something. So we get over it real
We gotta
quick.
get over it real quick.
And most of the times he always is the one beating me to apologize.
Because I'm like, first of all, it takes me a long time to get mad, period. Now, I'll get over it for the sake of like, I didn't even mean to come at you like that in the first place. So this whole okay, yeah, y'all talking about as much as like, okay, I'm dealing with the health issues and stuff like that. Oh no, I am getting a whole healing myself in the process.
Yes.
Because there is somebody that is directly in not opposition, but like can show me a boy. Listen, you talking to me a little crazy. It's normal to me though.
Yes. Yes.
So I don't know how far these things go down in my life that I have to uproot.
People think that they marrying the representative. You are marrying their upbringing. So everything that came out with us, I'm literally looking at a man child, and I'm not calling him, like a.
I know you're talking about. You're dealing with the boy, the broken boy.
A broken father issues he working through. I got to deal with the dynamic between the family and family depending on him. He don't have an end. All of these things are coming out in our marriage, and I'm trying to tell, hey, you can be vulnerable home. You can lay your head on my lap. I'm not going to attack you. At the end of the day, my well-being is your well-being.
And
there it is.
And I had to learn that because there were so many other things that I learned. Like, people don't understand and maybe some do, and I shouldn't say that, but it's like, when it's constant survival, constant repetitive 40 plus years of survival, and now you just learning how to be on the other side of survival.
Yeah.
What? Yeah, it's going to take me a minute to learn that this is safe. The last time I tried to be safe, I got burnt for it.
There it is.
And then it's either I'm not in a place where it's balanced. I'm swinging from one extreme to the next. So either I'm completely closed off and I can't stand anybody, or I leave myself totally wide open and I'm exposing too much.
And I'm getting hurt by everybody.
And he was institutionalized. That is the best way to put it.
And
we got family moments, dinners, and we like.
And I'm having the time of my life.
But in the beginning, Rich would be off on the corner. I'm like, yo, we having family dinner. Don't be rude. I'm not being rude. Not realizing he might not have had family dinners. Yeah. He don't know what a family conversation is. He don't, my dad will start the conversation off. We all share, kids share their mind. Mom shares them. And we just talking. We working through stuff, issues. And I'll put this out there because I hadn't. But on top of everything that we were dealing with,
Good.
Cut that out.
That's good. After everything, start from there.
With everything that was going on, I really wanted to heal. I wanted to be whole. Not physically, spiritually. I really wanted to be whole. And after years, decades, I finally went to my family and let them know, hey, when I was a child, I got molested. Never told anybody, nothing. To this day, and I'm sure when people hear this podcast, it'll be a thing with my circle group. And when I went to Rich, I told him everything. I put every bad thing I ever did in my life, everything that ever affected me, I came to him. And it was, here is me, naked. If you take me, I'm going to do everything in my power to heal and be better. Not realizing that, putting that weight on him with everything, and him, okay, I have to digest this. I'm married. I got to guide her. I have to lead. It was a lot. Then for him to come to me, and this is my childhood, here, my father issues. I got a brother that's
10 days younger.
10 days younger. Figuring, all of these things, and it's just we are literally vulnerable, exposed, and then that's when stuff start coming out.
And we not had it out we had it out. Yeah. To where it's she didn't leave anything from me, I didn't leave anything from her. So it's okay, this is what this feels like. It's strange. it is strange to me. Like, it's like, okay, God, how do I navigate this? And then I don't hear you. And for me, it's like, don't leave me to my devices. I'll figure it out the way I'll figure it out.
Yes.
And I've done that a ton of times. It hasn't got me nowhere, but that's all I know. So you got to help me here. And so when she started to go through hers, her process, it's like, not intentionally, but I waited for mine because I wanted to make sure I was there for her so that, to be supportive. And I'm like, I can wait. I don't know how healthy that was, but it was like, I can wait.
Yeah.
But, and I think I waited because I wasn't sure what I was going to run into or how that looks for me or how I would even feel about it, because up until this point, I'm pretty numb to it. I'm pretty used to how things go, barely getting it by, or somebody telling you to figure it out. And it's like, figure out what? This is all I've seen. You trying to tell me something that I didn't see. And I have to now figure this out at this age. I'm 44. Like, there's this expectation of where people should be at a certain age. And it's like, oh no, I'm just now figuring it out.
Yeah.
And I'm married.
Yeah.
I'm moved. This is all new. So if this is culture shock, hey, this is culture shock. So to now be like, okay, you got to go to counseling. And not only that, but just now understanding like, okay, I am a byproduct of something. And I now understand that I am a byproduct of that. It made me feel better that I can identify where it was, because for so long I couldn't tell you.
Yes.
This is normal. This is really, really normal. Fragmented family, it's normal. Survival, it's normal. The stuff that I've seen, it's normal to me. So to try to tell me there's something different, you're going to have to show me that, because I ain't seen it.
Yeah.
And this was the first year
of marriage.
Like, his mom was a big support. My family was a big support, but it was literally like we just kept getting hit. It's the job situation. Is, we experienced every part of our vows in such a short time, and it just kept coming. I mean, and even when we thought we was going to get a break, COVID hit. It was just, we just never, to this day, we haven't had a vacation, no break, nothing.
And there's stuff we got to consider with that, because her health. Okay, we just can't be around anybody like that. Like, we everybody vaccinated and stuff here, but it's just like, oh no, now there's stuff we have to really take in consideration because of the dynamic that we have,
It's just thinking about it now, our marriage is stronger because of it and everything, we stronger, we can talk and but it's just like, I just wanted to enjoy my marriage, and I'm getting choked up now, and I'm trying to fight, but it was just like, we only got 2 months, Lord. Like, it was just 2 months of just exhaling, and it was just ripped, and it like, after March 5th, 2019, since then, it has just been fighting, and I'm a fighter. Like, I am a fighter. Like, when the health situation came, it wasn't, I had my moments, but I had them moments in the closet. And it was, my family, we gonna fight this together. Rich, when you don't have, and I remember him saying it, because I had just gotten back from the doctor, and they said, I had 2 choices. And they said, the way your kidney is right now, if we give you a treatment, you're going to be at risk for cancer. If we don't, you're going on dialysis. And I'm like, that's not a choice. You didn't give me an option. It's a lose-lose. And I remember I held it up. Them doctors not going to see me cry. And I got outside, and as soon as I felt the air hit me, I just cried. And I just fell in his chest and cried. We went home, and I got in the tub, and he came and he washed me. And I leaned over and I told Rich, I said, I don't know why God did this to us. We weren't trying to be anything. We didn't want anything. All we wanted was to just get married and just have this little home and it just be us. And everything is attacking us in every health, money, friends,
past.
It was just like everything we could think of would just come. And in that moment, he said, babe, if you ain't got it, lean on me. And I was just like, Rich, you going through, and he was just like, I
can't go back.
It'll just be us. And I just remember being in the tub, just leaning on him, and we cried, and I told him, I said, just give me this night. In the morning, I'll be fine. And I woke up the next morning, and I said, all right, we just gonna make decisions, and we gonna keep going. And it's been like that since. I ended up going on dialysis on my birthday.
Of 2019?
2020.
2020.
On my birthday, August 22nd, on my birthday, ended up on dialysis. And
when's your birthday?
August 22nd.
So you said, in March of 2019 is when they told you that you were going to have to go back. They gave you the choice between.
No, they tried to fight. I was on so many different treatments.
Okay.
To fight the rejection, and it was hurting my body. Like, I don't want to say it's the equivalent, but it's kind of similar to chemo, to where they're trying to attack an infection, but all this other stuff happens, and I got like the worst of it. Like, I think you're only supposed to get like 5 to 7. I was getting 9 of these treatments, and my body is just like, they're sedating me at the same time to keep me on the treatment, and it's just pain.
So you did that for the whole year, 2019?
No, for that treatment, that was about a week. And then after that, just kept going back in, never got better. And every time we would go in, I'm in there for like a month, 2 months, a month.
Oh, you've been hospitalized for that?
All of 2019.
It wasn't like a day here or a day there. It was like
months.
Weeks, like 1 or 2 weeks going into a month, thinking like, okay, we're going to get out today. Here's another 5 days. So
surgeries, I'm getting biopsies,
getting punctured in the liver. I think I could have did her stuff myself. Them people know me. And it's like, yeah, that's cool, but I don't want y'all getting that familiar with me because I don't want to be up here like this.
So where y'all at right now, she needs a kidney.
She needs a kidney.
I need a kidney.
She needs a kidney. And the video that we shot last week, we're going to roll that video right now.
My name is Tiffani Martin, and I am in need of a kidney donor.
Hello, my name is Richard Martin, and I'm the husband of Tiffani Martin.
In 2012, it was a mutual acquaintance, and she said, I think this might be your guy, he's your type, or, everything on paper. How girls write on paper, they're typing everything. And
just to kind of compact it, we tried to date, or at least I tried to date her. She didn't like me.
I was living my best life. Whatever you want to take that as, that was me. He tried. I mean, he really tried his best, and I got off the plane and I walked out, and he has this little cheesy cardboard box or cardboard paper, whatever, with my name on it. And, Miss Robinson, I'm your ride. I'm like, oh my God, he's laying it on thick. It's gross. We get in the car. He takes me right to one of the places I've been trying to go to for years, and it was the Met, the Greek exhibit, the Egyptian exhibit. It was just great. Roses and cards and just everything. And he took me to the airport. We said our goodbyes. And lo and behold, a blizzard comes, and I'm stuck at the airport. This guy drives back an hour in a blizzard to come pick me up. The next day, he got me, to the airport, and I leave, and I get home. And the entire time, I didn't tell him, and I didn't tell anybody, but I had noticed that my body wasn't feeling normal. So as soon as I got home, I didn't think to call him. I just went directly to the doctors, and that's when they told me I had started experiencing some kidney failure. But I had never called him back. I didn't let him know I was fine, anything. And he called maybe a day later, and he went off. Just, you don't go home and not tell me, about your whereabouts, and I'm worried about you. And my silly, immature self just, told him, like, you're doing too much. Like, back off, you're doing too much. We kind of went our, separate ways, and I completely started focusing on my health. But for some reason, he called back.
We just focused on the friendship, and just remember her telling me that she was losing her eyesight and that her kidneys had failed, and along with her pancreas. And so we kind of focused on just that. Dating and anything else wasn't important at the time. Our friendship did kind of get stronger.
Literally every single day he called, and we would talk for hours. And he wasn't trying to get anything from me, or he just, how are you doing? And we would just talk about the stuff I used to enjoy. And I would be on dialysis every night for 9 hours on peritoneal, and he would talk to me for 9 hours. And wait till I fell asleep, and he would go to work.
At the end of 2017, 16 or 17, she asked me to come down and pay her a visit. And I think that's when we began to reconnect on a more relational level, like being a couple. And we just went from there. And then I would say in 2019, we were married.
It's overwhelming to be loved by Rich. And I'm a type 1 juvenile diabetic. I was diagnosed when I was 5 years old. And just over the course of 2 decades, just the wear and tear of diabetes resulted in me losing, function of my kidneys. I'm completely 100% blind. And in 2017, I received a dual transplant between a kidney and a pancreas. 2019, I married the love of my life in January, and literally in 2 months, my kidney rejected, and she began to say that it would attack my spinal cord. And so certain things would deteriorate. So it would be, my motor, my movements, and, the tremors would increase. And it was literally just, my body deteriorating to a point to where it wouldn't be able to self-sustain.
I am pleading with you to give my wife a kidney so that she can live.
I've always been a fighter. It's not in my nature to ask for anything. I've been very independent all of my life, but I've been humbled, and it's not a bad thing. I'm learning God's care and sovereignty and love and all of those things just by asking. And so I'm coming to you with a humble heart, asking for a living donor.
If you feel that you're a match, you heard that you don't have to be a specific match for her blood type. They can do cross-matching.
If we're not a match per se, and there's somebody else in the world and they have theirs doesn't match, they'll swap. So we will still get the kidneys in the transplant would happen, but they'll coordinate all of those things.
Right. So make sure you go to the description on the YouTube channel, and the information will be in the YouTube channel. And so let's step up. If we really truly believe that Black lives matter, then hey, this is what it's about right here. So that's the reason why I want them to be on this podcast, because their life touched me so much. I was convicted by just hearing their story. So yeah, y'all don't have to be relationship gurus for people's lives to be transformed. The Bible says that people will overcome by the word of our testimony. So just by y'all giving y'all testimony, people are going to extract whatever they need in that season. And so that's what I'm doing. As you know, this podcast is me going through my journey, and I don't believe that anything happens by happenstance. That through a powerful video that I shot for Charnel, dope woman, overcomer, she's the bomb. And meeting her a couple of years ago opened up the door for me to meet y'all at such a time as this. So it's nothing is just by happenstance. So first of all, let me just thank y'all so much for your willingness to share, for your willingness to just be naked and unashamed.
Listen, thank you, because she put me on to you.
Oh, really?
Look at the Dear Wifey
She's like,
podcast.
you gonna listen to Dear Wifey with
It
me?
really like, that don't sound like it's for me. And I'm like, it's cool. And we have friends.
You have friends
that
on
were
the line, so it was
Yeah.
like, oh, all right. And so you can imagine, like, all right, I don't know you, like,
Yeah.
because we're just listening.
Yeah.
And so when we finally arrived, I'm like, oh, that's dude.
I keep forgetting, because when I pulled up the video, everything's audio, and I'm like, it's a podcast, so I'm like, I'm not realizing that I had the phone tucked. He's not looking at the phone.
I'm just listening.
He's just
yeah.
listening. And so when we got here, I'm like, this is the guy, I already told you about him. You seen him. And he's like, I ain't seen this.
him do
Oh, you were just listening?
I was just listening, because anytime she plays anything, we're not like on her phone or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just listening to it.
Yeah.
So
Because you have to enter into her world at this point.
and it's quite funny now, because she has her phone up to a specific speed and it's fast. So all I hear, it's got dumb to the point now I'm starting to understand who and what is. I'm like, okay, I've been around you way too
much. Got me sound like Minnie
Just
Mouse.
to say like, okay, it was like, okay, no, that's the dude. Oh, okay.
So thank y'all so much for joining me on the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Tiff and Rich. Y'all give it up for Tiff and Rich, y'all.
Oh, can I get some like Jamaican air horns? Like,
Go ahead, dude. When I tell you their story is so impactful to me, such an amazing story, it really convicts me, and it teaches me to see outside of my sight, to see outside of my eyes. And so this letter definitely reflects exactly that. Dear Future Wifey, I want to see you. I want to close my eyes and still see you. I want the predestined purpose of our futures to resonate in my soul when we meet and give me the undeniable clarity to identify you as my purpose partner. I must see you. The Holy Spirit is my optometrist. He's been detecting defects in my vision. There has been signs of injury to my retinas due to choices I've made when my vision was foggy. I was prescribed spectacles, the Bible, to strengthen my sight. Last year, I became laser focused to get my vision clearer so I would recognize you. I needed eye surgery, so I consulted Jesus Christ as my ophthalmologist. My surgery was completed on December the 30th, 2020, when I surrendered my sexuality to him and became abstinent. My vision is 2020 now. Follow me as I follow Christ. I'm following his footsteps in the sand. Other guys didn't have the right prescription to see you. Beautiful. You come with a unique eye chart. With closed eyes, I want my heart to beat faster when you are in my vicinity and see you in the spirit before gazing into your eyes. Baby, I will see you. Your future hubby. Thank you for listening to the Dear Future Wifey podcast. Remember, be lit, live intentionally and transparently, and don't stop loving. Make sure to subscribe to our Dear Future Wifey YouTube channel. We're available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and Stitcher. We welcome your support. Simply share our podcast with your friends and family.